So, we've always eaten healthy in our house, but there comes a point where kids push back. And my daughter is no different. She pushed back pretty hard. And there were lots of times where she decided, I'm not eating this. I don't want to eat this. How come we eat weird? How come I can't have donuts for breakfast like my friends? Or I can't have, bagels and, jelly. And she pushed back pretty hard for a while. And I just maintained my course. Now, there was a time where I thought, oh, I'm going to tell her how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to be, and she's going to do what I say. Good luck if you have a really strong-willed kid. So for me, I learned a better strategy was to let go. And I know that sounds crazy, but first of all, you teach people how to treat you. So when my daughter would throw temper tantrums, and she could throw them like the best of them, she would throw a temper tantrum where she would be rude, I would literally check out and go, oh, sorry, honey, I don't do things for people who treat me that way. The next morning, I didn't get up. I was like in bed, itching to get up and like forget the whole thing. I didn't get out of bed. And I let her, like she was freaked out, completely freaked out because she's used to me doing everything for her in the morning. And I'm like, sorry, babe, I don't do things for people who treat me that way. But that's for two reasons. Number one, it teaches her how to treat me. Number two, it teaches her an example of how she should not let people treat her. So that was one of the strategies I used to get control of that really early on, those chaotic mornings with her throwing temper tantrums and making chaos. I don't like chaos in my house. I really don't like it. So that was one thing. You teach people how to treat you. Learn to let go. And learn to let go of control. What I mean by that, by learning to let go of control, when she decided, I'm not eating that, I would initially be like, this is what you're going to eat. Now, you can do this a couple of ways. I know a lot of people are like, that's what my kid's going to eat. If they don't eat it, I'm throwing it away. That's not really me. You can do that. I have no opinion on which is better. But my way of handling it is to fill my house with only healthy food. There's no junk she can go make. So if she didn't eat it, I would stick it in the fridge. Or not. If she didn't eat it, sometimes I'd throw it away. But there's plenty of other things that she can go get. It's like there's plenty of food you can go eat when you're hungry. And parents will usually give in. I don't know when we decided that it was a child's constitutional right to eat crap, pardon my French, but it's crazy. We decided like, oh, it's their constitutional right to eat donuts and ice cream and junk food before school and garbage cereals that are full of not only sugar but artificial dye, which, by the way, increase the symptoms of ADD dramatically. They've actually shown that ADD in boys has gone up like over 20%. In overall, it's gone up in children 11%. And, many of these symptoms can be made better by cleaning up their diet, by simply cleaning up their diet. So that's why I'm like, why are we letting kids tell us what is their right to eat and not eat? And if they don't eat, I guess it's good for me. I've taken, a lot of nursing courses and biology courses, and it takes 30 days for a kid to starve. Now, I know that sounds harsh. I know I'm going to get hate mail. I always do get hate mail whenever I say that. The point is they're not going to starve. At some point, they're going to get hungry enough to eat something that you have in the house. And so the next thing I did is I actually taught my daughter, which I don't have on this list, but I taught her how to cook really early. So by 6 years old, I wouldn't let her do it without me there, but she could actually learn how to make, one of her little gluten-free, sort of a little melt or something like that in the toaster. She could actually make an omelet. With me there, she could make an omelet. So that by the time she was, 8 or 9, she could easily make omelets. So if she doesn't like what I make her, it's like, well, go make what you want. Go make what you want. So in my next video, I'm going to actually show you some of the very specific foods we eat for breakfast. This is going to be a series. I'm going to show you what we actually do for breakfast that I can do in 10 minutes or less. No fuss, no muss, things that she loves. And I give her control by letting her create the menu. As long as it's healthy, within a whole 400 recipes that I've created, she gets to create her menu. And so we've learned to get breakfast down really easy, really clean, and make it fun. So mornings for us are a time of fun, a time of bonding. They weren't always. I had to do the hard work early on. Now they're awesome. And those are a couple of things I did. Don't give up. So, I've been an example for a long time. Many years I had my daughter fighting back. She'd go out to parties and rub it in my face that she was eating junk. It's okay. I just maintained my values. And interestingly enough, I can't take all the credit for it. Sometimes, I'm like, why are you so rigid with your diet? She eats so clean. She's not calorie restricted at all, but she eats very clean food. So you never know when they're going to make that shift. It might not be 13. It might be 20. But stick with it. okay? Because if you're the example, that's where they learn. They don't do what you say, they do what you do. So I taught her to cook. Get the right breakfast for their brain. This is really important. So when I see kids coming out of the grocery store with donuts, muffins, all these things, I just talked about ADD and the problem with that. Those foods, when you have a carb-heavy breakfast, cereal, stuff like that, it jacks up, it decreases their focus, jacks up blood sugar, then it drops, and they can't focus. It messes up their hormones of metabolism. And now for the rest of the day, they have brain fog, and they're craving foods, and they're on this horrible cycle. If you start those kids, especially if they have ADD symptoms, you just want to start those kids with protein and fat in the morning. That increases focus. It helps them focus better. If you have a kid who's anxious and OCD, you do want to give them some smart carbs. Maybe not, definitely not carbs that are going to make them sick, like cereal and stuff like that. You want to give them carbs like maybe a little bit of banana, some sweet potato, those kinds of carbs. I have breakfast recipes with quinoa in them. Or even a little bit of oatmeal. I put some protein powder in mine, that kind of stuff. Those types of carbs, along with protein and some fat, will help to settle them down. Because if they're anxious, their brain's working too hard. That will help to settle them down a little bit. So you don't want to restrict carbs for those kids. So know whether your kid's anxious or a little bit ADD and scattered. And then some targeted supplements. Breakfast is the time. And it can be hard sometimes to give kids supplements. I've been giving my daughter supplements since she was young. And she gets some targeted supplements like a multivitamin, vitamin D, fish oil, probiotics. And what I do is I put them either in a smoothie or I'll mix it into some almond butter, something thick and pasty where it's, I can get her to take it really easily. Blend it in there. So no problems there. And those are just a few of the things we do in the morning. I have some notes here because I'm going to actually go over this. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure I cover the next one. The next one's going to be on what we actually do in the mornings. So I hope this was helpful in helping you get started, but mornings should be a time of bonding, a time that you guys spend together. And you don't have to get all upset if your kids sort of freak out and don't do what you want them to do. Let go. Like, try it. Just see what happens. It's like, don't do it. I don't do things for kids who treat me that way. And, they're not going to starve if they don't eat what you make them. Teach them how to make something easily. And then I'm going to show you some of the breakfasts that we do in 10 minutes or less. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.